Some prisons are actually located in secondary communities and some are in major metropolitan areas. But let's think about secondary communities because they tend to be more there probably than in the major metropolitan areas. And, my program is amazing and we're getting amazing results and the guys feel it and see it. And the shortcoming is in the community. What I mean by that is that wouldn't it be great if people came around a table and really talked about how can we as a community embrace people who have had a record, who have actually transformed their life. They've taken programs and they see something now better for themselves and they don't want to go back. And those people exist. And in fact, what I'm going to finish that thought and then I'm going to come back to something you just said. And so one of the things is obviously they need employment. So why couldn't we think, kind of like you think about what if, I think, why couldn't we think differently about the problems that we face? So let's have it be a win-win. Here's an example. Let's say that there are certain industries in your local community and smaller ones, they only tend to be 2 or 3 sometimes. And so what are those jobs? And what if those employers could be sitting at the table specifically to be able to say, you know what, we could start training these guys while they're still in prison. And now we got a workforce because we have such a shortage in the United States about people. These guys are gifted, they're talented, and their work ethic many times is very, very strong. The other thing is that then what about our academic partners saying, all right, not everybody needs a GED, by the way, in prison. Maybe they had that already, or maybe they even had associate's degree. Maybe they want to do something else or certifications. Then the next thing is that food, technology, they're so far behind because they don't have access to the internet and things like that. How can we get them ready to go? You have to have an email address. You have to have a cell phone. You have to have a place to live. What about housing? Would you be willing to at least try to have an application be accepted for one person? We're not saying you don't even have to change the world. One person, take that chance on a person. Churches are the same thing. So, is the church open to welcoming people who had a felony record and now are getting out? So it's going to take a village, honestly. And
Right.
in order to do that. But the thing, going back to something you said, which is really who you are as a creative, and that is that so many of those men are so creative. There are poets, there are artists, there are motivational speakers, all in the making, waiting for that chance. But when they start my program, they're very quiet. They're not really sure, right? And so what happens is when graduation happens, we have a formal graduation at the end of usually around 9 months. And so they all take part. So a couple of mentors, couple of mentees really talk about the impact for them personally or all of that. And to see them behind the podium and speaking, because for most people, that's the worst thing is to have to publicly
Oh,
speak.
oh
And
yes.
and they speak with such heart and such passion and it's amazing. And it just continues to grow. So my model is exactly what I said. I go in. The first time I go in, the warden chooses the mentors because I don't have a basis for that. And then we go through the program and the mentees then get to be trained as mentors. So you learned it as a consumer of education. Now you're going to be the facilitator of that. And I don't want to lose my mentors if they still have longer to serve. And many of them have life sentences. And so I'm going to teach them accelerated coaching skills. I'm not going to teach them to be a coach, but accelerated coaching skills because now they have this vast knowledge and they can help support the staff to be able to kind of shepherd this group. Then what happens is usually about the 3rd or 4th time that I've gone back, then there's a gentleman who has risen to the top saying he's found his purpose in so many ways and he loves the teaching aspect of it. Now, all the mentors have found their purpose because what happens is it gets them out of bed in the morning because they can pour into somebody else, which for the
Yes.
first time, they're doing good work and they love that feeling, which is great. And it feels idle time. But to the next person, the guy who says, yeah, and I'll say, okay, would you like to co-facilitate with me? I will teach you to be me. So we co-facilitate and we trade that off. And then the next time I go, you can be me. And then I pull myself out. And that's really the way the model works. And in a couple of places where I really see it, if the gentleman is released and he's found himself, I'm going to let him take the program and run with it. If he's still in the prison, which I have that too, then they're going to continue to run that program without me, which is fine. Now I say that, but I'm still calling the facility every week in most cases. In one prison, I call every 3 weeks because I've been doing this for so long. And he, the gentleman who runs, is spectacular. And so, it is always their program. I say, I'm here to help kind of give you the structure and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's your program. You make it whatever it needs to be.